Okay, I show 0700. Good morning. My name is Paul Carlos, the Plant Section Chief Trainee for Incident Management Team 1, and this is the operational briefing for the West Zone of the Dixie incident for September 3rd, 2021. I get everybody turn down their phones, put them to mute, take any sidebar conversations outside of the briefing area. I'd appreciate it. We'll start off with the situational update operations.
Morning, Magnus Johnson, Incident Management Team 1, night operations. I've been saying for quite a few days, quiet on the Western Front. Well, that got spoiled. 7.5 acres down in Butte Meadows, up off the D line. We're going to support that, take care of that today. Also up by the Rougher Ranch, another little smoke's coming up. We got to go in and take care of that. Interior, no threat to the line. Shasta Sector, Branch 13. Oscar, November, quiet. They have a lot of work, though, to finish and tie that back in. Branch 16, Lassen Sector, continued strong work in there. Mop up and patrol and hold the line there on the Westwood Logging Road. Sierra Tango, everything good in there. Throughout the night, I didn't hear anything for calls of service within Lake Almanor, the Westwood Sector. As we come down into the Janesville branch and then the Junction group down in there, fire continues to stay and hung up on the top of the escarpment. There's a little piece that poked down towards 395. It's just slow creeping, little rollout, little creep, little rollout. No threat to 395, nothing in there. Outside of that, no reported injuries last night or accidents in the report.
There have been no changes to your management objectives. There has been a change to the control objectives. Keep the fire north of Grizzly Ridge and Lake Davis. Keep the fire south of Harvey Valley Road. Keep the fire east of Ponderosa Way and within established control lines. And keep the fire west of the eastern Lassen County line while ensuring infrastructure defense in the communities of Janesville, Milford, and Herlong. Weather.
Hey, good morning. Derek Williams, incident meteorologist. So a little bit of change in the weather today. In fact, the wind direction in a lot of areas will be 180 degrees off. So the past few days we've seen a west-southwest wind. Today, a lot of areas will see an east wind, a predominant east wind, even through the afternoon hours. But it will be light at 10 miles an hour or less. Nonetheless, that's a pretty significant change. So there are some differences in where you'll be located on how those winds will be kind of affected by the typical diurnal flow. So basically, if you're in the Shasta sector and Butte sector, you could see a southwest wind late this afternoon coming back. But if you're east of that, if you're in Lassen sector and Janesville branch area, you'll see an east wind all day. East-southeast wind all day. So again, less than 10 miles an hour, but it's a significant change. That wind change overnight brought the smoke that was produced yesterday back over the area. So that smoke is kind of sloshing around the region. That'll allow for poor visibility today and likely affect air operations throughout the day. And as we get into tonight, very light winds, drainage type wind, 3 to 5 miles an hour, not significant there. But late this evening, along that escarpment on US 395, there are some indications that those southwest winds will make a brief comeback around sunset. So you'll see that east wind most of the day, but keep an eye out on those southwest winds around sunset along the ridgetop there. So as we go into the next couple days, still dry, still single digit, close to 10% relative humidity this afternoon. As we get in the next couple of days, still dry, still critical RHs during the afternoon, and we'll see a return to a typical southwest flow, but it will be light, 10 to 15 miles an hour along ridge tops. A lot of the times it'll be a diurnal flow in the valleys. So not too much concern with the winds the next few days, and maybe some more wind and possibly a thunderstorm on Tuesday. Have a safe shift.
Fire behavior.
Good morning, Don Watt with Fire Behavior. So as you heard, we do have a little bit down here that's getting active. Remember, this lower section of the fire, it's been burned for over 40 days. So you're starting to see that vegetation that got treated above fall down to the ground as it gets stressed. So you're creating another fuel layer down here. So the big thing is to just, if you're out there, you're working, anything that's smoldering and there's stuff that's going to fall down, and more vegetation that's coming down off the top, it has that chance to reignite. Probably won't move fast. You'll probably have a slow rate of spread, mostly backing, flanking fire. But if you do get something that's in alignment with wind and slope, it will increase speed if there's enough fuel there. It's going to be good conditions up on the top here. You may have some battling winds with those terrain driven. The nice thing is you will have that shading for most of the day probably with the smoke. It probably won't take effect on the larger fuels, but your fine fuels might start to see a little bit of reduction in their acceptability. Some of those spot fires, by the end of the day, if it stays shaded the entire day, you'll see a slight drop. Probably not significant enough. You will still have spotting potential, all short range. So just remember, when you have that limited visibility, just keep an eye out when you're working those areas to see if anything's picking up near or over the line. Coming down here, we talked about this section down in Janesville. So the big thing is we had that east-southeast wind. Talked to people coming in this morning. They have clearing down here over the Honey Lake area already today. So as the IMET said, you may see that southwest push come back this afternoon. The big thing is if this stays clear and it heats up, it will want to draw down in the evening, like the IMET talked about. So just be aware, you may have a nice east-southeast to east flow during the day. Be prepared for this afternoon, late in the afternoon to when the sun starts setting, that you might see that southwest push. So anything where it's pushing out on either side may want to make a little bit of run down that slope. So just keep a heads up, make sure you're keeping eyes on the weather all day, and make sure you know where you're at and how the wind's affecting your terrain. Have a safe shift.
Operational work assignments, operations.
Good morning. My name is Mike Wink. We'll start out here in Branch 9 like we do every morning. So a lot of continued good effort over here in Branch 9. They did have 2 little spots that had to be addressed yesterday. Just outside the line, they're in there doing tactical patrol. They got some aircraft, some helicopters in there. So continue those good efforts. They're also having stuff in some wet areas that are difficult to continue to mop those up, but that's why we got tactical patrol out there. You guys are watching those, getting those picked up. Caltrans is working on that 36 corridor. They have committed to putting additional resources in there so we don't have to address the logging operation going into hot stuff. So that's going to let you guys focus on that tactical patrol, watching the perimeter, watching those smokes, making sure it's safe for all those folks that are back in there now. Great job. The citizens are back in there. They're still, really affected by all this stuff. Continue to support them. Continue all the good work in here. Good job. Going to go now to Branch 13. Branch 13, a lot of good progress being made in there. That is in the national park. There are some limitations to things or processes. They have been working really good. We really appreciate all the effort of the park at going through the process, allowing some mechanicalized equipment, allowing opening up of lines, allowing some new lines to be put in, allowing retardant and aircraft and all those things. It just is a process, okay? So there's some areas in there where they need to put some line. It's pretty hazardous for the crews, so they're letting some mechanicalized equipment make some things safer so the crews can get in there and put that line. So a lot of good work is being done all on this highway corridor along West Prospect and coming down here through the middle. You're going to see a lot of progress in the days to come. So they are making good progress in there. We're going to start seeing the black on the map. So continue those great efforts there in the park. Just outside the park, primary line, secondary line, contingency line, and roadways. All that is looking really good. Those efforts are ongoing. They're now focusing on roadways, egress and ingress corridors, okay? So that fuels reduction. So working with the forest and with all the resource advisors, following the process, we're doing roadways for egress and ingress now. So that's those efforts are ongoing. Here in the Lassen sector in Branch 16, 5, 6, 7 days now, picking away at it, getting spots outside the line, minimal spots outside the line, finding opportunities to go direct, really getting this continue to be pinched down, right? Continue to get it pinched down. The efforts are great job in there. You guys left yesterday's shift, a good product. They built on that. making good progress in there. Once we have 2 days, we're still working on contingency line on the other side of 44 because we're always working primary, secondary, contingency, emergency, okay? Always doing that. We get 2 days of no spots in here. We can ease up on all the secondary, contingency, and emergency lines, okay? But we're going to continue those efforts, scouting. We've got local leadership in there. We're just going to look at existing roadways for those contingency boxes. But as we continue to hold this in here from Silver Lake up, no structures damaged or destroyed in Silver Lake. Tremendous firefighting there. Good job. Continue those efforts. We'll do what we can to support you. As we continue down now into the Highway 36 corridor, Westwood, continued calls for service, working on this peat moss piece in here, working in some of these wet areas that are holding heat and smoking and being visible, getting 911 calls for service. You guys continue to monitor all those frequencies. Had to come down in here into Humbug and over here into West Elmore for some calls for service yesterday. Continue to monitor those frequencies, listen to what's going on everywhere else. As we come down here into the Janesville branch. So we are down here in working with our East Zone partners cooperatively and collaboratively down in the East Zone. We're monitoring their command frequencies so we can have communications. Make sure you're monitoring East Zone air-to-ground command and air-to-ground TAC, as well as Command 30, the command frequency down here in the East Zone. We're working with Branch 30 and Division Papa down there with our organizational structure supporting and surging resources down here as the fire tries to come down to the 395 corridor. So working together in their zone. We have good communication with all levels of leadership. We're monitoring each other's frequencies as this tries to continues to spread to the east. We are in an unusual occurrence. Everybody's here, all the local leadership from all the first responder agencies, Chief Packwood and all of his team will tell you that usually the fires don't come to the escarpment and kind of hang up there. There's a lot of fire that you can't see from the 395 corridor. The IR showing it's just on the other side of the ridge, and then there's some that's hung up on the ridge that you'll see, and you'll see the stuff from 395. For 2 weeks, I've been preaching that the 395 corridor has extreme erratic fire behavior in its history. So now we've got fire hanging up just on the highway side. We're not going to close the highway until we get any sort of fire advancement. It's just backing down towards us. Just know this, we're working on lines to box that in to the north and the south. To the south of us, we got the Beckworth complex. So there's that there. If we need that to the north, we're looking for historical dozer lines to try to bring some stuff off the escarpment down to the highway while this is just slowly chunking along. We're not going to be doing any firing. We're going to let it come down to us. We have a good plan in place. We're just in an unusual occurrence. Today, you heard the fire behavior analysts talk about just at sunset, we could have that southwest influence. That influence is the normal thing that brings it off the escarpment. So just at sunset, be expecting we could have increased fire activity along here. So with that said, we're in an unusual occurrence of it hanging up here. That's not normal. It likes to come down. So be ready for it to come down. I've been talking about the extreme erratic fire behavior in there. Make sure you look it up, Beckworth Complex, fire in Doyle. You'll see the extreme erratic fire behavior, those videos that are online. Look at the Eagle Fire, 1989. Look that up and look at that online. A much smaller fire footprint. As soon as you introduce fire in this 395 corridor, when you have the right conditions, it's going to get extreme. So we all know it's coming. We've been saying it. It could come today. It could come in the days to come. With those two things, I'm going to leave you with, I have a Helitac captain, Phil Mateer, who told me about this thing called places, okay? Lookouts, communications, escape routes, and safety zones. Everybody knows LACIS, right? So now put P in front of it. Places. Pressure. Pressure from waiting for this to come down. So everything you've done to prepare that we've been talking about, that's in the pit of your stomach, okay? You got pressure from that. Pressure from being here for 50 days. Pressure from home. Pressure from everything else that's going on. Make sure that you have a plan, all right? And the last thing for today is that one more thing. Army General Al Moore always said you can do one more thing to improve your position. So if you're working down here today, do that one more thing. Look at those dozer lines and make them better. This is a sparsely populated area, but just remember, that's everything those people have. Everything in the world is right here to them, and we have time. We know it's coming, but we have time to make sure you've done everything you can do to prep those houses, move those wood piles, make that dozer line bigger, find a contingency line, put check lines in, make sure you put new batteries in your radio, make sure you know your comm plan, water tenders, make sure you know where multiple water sources are, because if it comes down in there, it's going to be all hands, okay? And with that, I'll see you out there.
Sector, branch, and divisional roll call resources.
Good morning, everyone. Jordan Weber, Resource Unit Leader, CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. If you'll join me on page 2 of your IEP, the ICS 203, and branches, sectors, and divisions, when you hear your names, please stand. Starting with the Shasta sector, Fields. Here. Branch 9, Smith. Here. Division Juliet, Ibarra. Here. Division Lima, Riley. Here. Branch 13, Klemick. Here. Trainee, English. Division November and Oscar, briefing in the field. Division Papa, Palmer. Here. Shasta Contingency, Stornetta. Here. Lassen Sector, Prather. Here. Branch 16, Boston. Here. Deputy Felix. Good morning. Division Quebec, Salzoni. Here. Trainee Tui. Here. Division Romeo, Swope. Here. Division Sierra, Shaloub. Lassen Contingency, Turman. Here. Trainee Cooper. Here. The Westwood Sector, Irma Garrett. Here. Deputy Rayleigh. Here. Westwood Group, Hunter. Here. Janesville Branch, Walton. Here. Milford Group, Grendel. Here. This is our one change for the Hicks Group and the Junction Group, Frederick. Antelope Group, Whitchurch. Here. Fire Suppression Repair, Hauser. Here. Thank you all. Have a safe shift.
Air operations.
Good morning. Matt Hill, Air Operations, CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. For fixed wing today, we'll have air attack and tankers as visibility allows. Rotor wing, we have 14 Type 1s, 4 Type 2s, 6 Type 3s. And for 24-hour ALS hoist, we have guard 841 out of Reno and guard 820 to support the plan. We have 1 UAS module, and please monitor air-to-ground command on whatever part of the fire you're on for divisions and above, and then air-to-ground TAC. Make it a safe shift. Thank you.
Communications.
Good morning, John Aguilera, Communications. Today, September 3rd, 2021, there is no new radio clone today. If you're new to the incident, please come by Communications to get clone. The last clone was on August 25th. In your 205 in the IEP, pages 40 and 41 will be for the west zone, 42 will be for the east zone. On page 40, Command 47 and Command 57 are listed as unassigned. Those are no longer in place. They're going to be used for future use. Do not use those command nets. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please go ahead and come by Communications and we'll help you out. Have a safe shift.
Medical.
Good morning, Race Wickless, Medical Unit Leader. Today your 206 can be found on page 44. If you go down to box 6, we've updated the guard ship 841 and 820 to be your 24-hour hoist. And also the ambulance staging locations are located directly below that. We have line medics in branch 13, 16, and also in Janesville today. And in box 8 is your line emergency procedures. And also remember to pick up your quick reference card located in the back of at the IAP table there. Thank you and have a safe shift.
Safety.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Brad Inman with Safety. Hey, we've been here for a really long time. I'm sure some people out in the audience have been here since almost the beginning. Let's take the time today to check out your vehicles specifically. Check your headlights, your taillights, emergency warning devices, fluids, belts, all of those things. They say that accidents that are predictable are preventable. let's take the time, check out your vehicles. Let's not let something like that cause a major incident. Next, communications. You just heard it from the comm. If you're going to be working down there near the east zone, make sure you're scanning those channels. Make sure you're familiar with what those channels are and you've got good communications. Lastly, COVID-19. If you're not feeling well, go over to CalMat and get checked out. Get tested. Let's not let something like that make a big impact on our operations. Thank you.
Information.
Good morning, Emily Smith, Public Information. If you'd like to join me on page 53, I have some updated numbers for you. For the Dixie incident, the updated acreage is 868,781 acres, and we're at 55% containment with 3,860 personnel assigned. On this page, you'll find the federal and CAL FIRE social media policies. Please continue to adhere to those. And again, if you have any pictures or video content that you would like to post, please come by the PIO shop first so we can vet that. Also, for lost and found and mail delivery, it's located at the PIO trailer off of Riverside Drive, so it's down where you're getting fuel. They'll have packages there that have been transferred over from the fairgrounds, as well as any lost and found. And just a reminder that tonight we have a virtual community meeting at 7 p.m. and that will be streamed on CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1's YouTube page, as well as CAL FIRE Lassen Modoc Facebook page. Thank you and have a great day.
Logistics.
Good morning, Jesse Morris, Logistics. If you could please turn to page 62 in your IEP, you'll find a map of our facility with all of your logistical needs around camp. And on page 47 is our service schedule for around camp as well. Also today, Highlands Camp will be moving to Hat Creek. So for those of you that are being supported out of Highlands Camp, tomorrow morning you'll be reporting to Hat Creek Camp. The address is 17855 Dottie Road in Hat Creek. Have a safe shift. Thank you.
All federal resources this morning, if you could please tie in with check-in. There's a couple new QR codes that need your attention. Ensure that you've been appropriately checked in and all financial documents have been added to the system. The check-in can assist you with that. Final comments, Unified IC.
Good morning, Brandon Gunn, CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1, representing Unified ICs. First, I want to talk about the great firefighting efforts going on out there. Everyone in the Lawson sector that's been holding that haul road, chasing spot fires, keeping it from going across 44, thank you for your strong work. We appreciate it. Last night, we went out to check on the firefighting efforts in the field. We went down 395 to the Hurlong Junction. First thing I see is Chief Packwood out there giving on local knowledge to the firefighters in the field. Second thing I see is our operations section chief in the field, talking with our fire behavior analyst and safety, developing a plan for when that fire steps down off the escarpment, how they're going to save those structures, and how they're going to keep that fire from crossing 395. Next, I look to my right, and there's water tenders, dozers, and engines standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to fight, ready to save those structures, and ready to stop that fire at 395. On behalf of the Unified ICs, I just want to say thank you for your strong work. Have a good shift.
Next operational brief me tomorrow morning, 0700. Unassigned resources in the back by where you got IEPs. Breakouts are out here outside of the perimeter of the briefing area, starting with branch 9, working around the horn all the way to the staging area. Thank you and have a good shift.